Rev Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Welcome back to the channel. Another cold morning, viewers. It's just settling. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe, like, share. When parents make children their friend or spouse. My mother, my mate, Susan Peace, Gadara, contemplating divorce. Turning one's teenage child into a mate, friend, or equal is known as parentifying a child. These are the key points. Number 2, sharing troubles with children who don't have coping skills or life experience to deal with them leaves them feeling hopeless and helpless. It's actually a form of abuse. Three, a child who was trained to anticipate the needs of their parent will carry this trait into their adult relationships. When my parents divorced 30 years ago, my younger brother was the only one of us 5 kids who yet to attend college. As the only child at home, my mother leaned on him heavily, and, as so many lonely parents do, she turned him into her surrogate husband. I'm going to say this again. As the only child at home, my mother leaned on him heavily, and as so many lonely parents do, she turned him into her surrogate husband. My brother spent the following 3 decades of his life anticipating and meeting my mother's needs. 30 years. He even went so far as to move next door to her so that he could be close enough for her to call, but also have a sense of separation too. He had a wife and daughter who needed him at home after all. Making a child the stand-in for the spouse you lost, be it through divorce or death, is not unusual. This is what I've been saying, viewers. It happens all the time. From a family system perspective, this dynamic makes perfect sense. When one member of the system leaves, another one will step in and take its place. This is nature's way of maintaining a sense of balance. The term for this phenomenon is homeostasis, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. Additionally, nature hates a vacuum, so when a space as large as a mother or father becomes vacant, someone or something will unconsciously and automatically want to fill that space. Parents who are using their children to get their emotional needs met may believe that the new arrangement is a good one. They think that everyone benefits, they get their needs met, and as they see it, their children benefit because they will feel useful and loved. The adults may not realize that there are many more negative than positive impacts on children who are parentified. This is also called covert emotional incest. Asking a child to play the role of an adult is a heavy burden. In many cases, troubles shared with children who don't have the coping skills or life experience to know how to deal with them leave the child feeling hopeless and helpless, rather than augmenting a child's self-esteem. The constant feeling of futility can lead to lower self-worth. It's not only parents imposing this role on their children. Some children see what is needed, or at least what they think is needed, and offer to fill the vacuum. For every story about a parent leaning too heavily on a child, there's one about a child who wants to be seen as the man of the house now, or dad's caretaker, and I've seen this. And unfortunately, if you're an outsider coming in to have a relationship with the mother, this can turn really ugly, because as it says here, the man of the house now, or the dad's caretaker, you've got no idea the possession that they think they have over the mother, and they will cause havoc. How the surrogate spouse role impacts a child's adult relationships. Okay, this is the part that I worry about for these young men. This level of parent-child enmeshment fosters unhealthy dependence. The child who was trained so well to anticipate the needs of his parent will, without awareness or intervention, carries this trait into his adult relationships. The doting daughter, and later doting wife, may suppress her own needs and not speak her own truth in her marriage. Kind of reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. She never really spoke up. This in turn leads her into toxic rages or an affair, because they self-soothe somewhere else, which was pretty sure where my ex-girlfriend was headed, and I wasn't going to hang around for that. Because she was trained not to ask for what she needed, it never occurred to her to do so. Meanwhile, she merely had to state what she needed, and her husband would have responded positively. I've had women say to me, this is interesting, say to me, whenever I mention anything, you get upset. That was never true. That was never ever true. There might have been things that we spoke about that were heated, but I always wanted to listen to what my partner had to say. The doting son and later doting husband set himself up to be a doormat by pampering a partner who is happy to have a one-sided relationship. Okay? People who suffer learned helplessness may become chronic under-earners, and others with an overinflated need to please may unconsciously turn into workaholics. How to avoid the parentification trap. Turning your teen into your mate, friend, or equal is known as parentifying your child. This is also referred to as emotional incest or surrogate spouse syndrome. I can think of no circumstance where it is of any benefit to anyone in the long term. That's why I do these videos. It is unequivocally an indication that the adult in the family is not getting her needs met, or he. Understanding the signs of parentification can prevent lifelong damage to the children who otherwise have no choice but to be there for a needy parent. Here are a few signs that you may be leaning too heavily on your son or daughter. Number 1. You forego plans with friends or peers to attend events with or for your child. Number 2. You tell your child more about your marriage or divorce than you tell friends or peers. Number 3. You don't go to therapy or seek professional help despite intense emotions because you have your child to lean on. And I've seen this mirrored in the parent as well, with the child with the parent. Thinks they're the therapist. For instance, if somebody in the family is threatening suicide or has suicidal tendencies and you haven't contacted the proper authorities or people to prevent that, then this is what this is talking about. The person starts playing the role as a therapist or professional, and everybody's walking around on eggshells like in a landmine field, and the person that's threatening to commit suicide has got everyone running around after him, and the whole house evolves around grandizing this child so that they don't top themselves. It's quite evil, actually. Number 4, you often tell your child how much they have helped you and that you don't know what you'd do without them. Number 5, your child forgoes plans with friends or peers to attend events with you and for you. Yep. Number 6, your child asks questions about your marriage or divorce, which really is none of their business, and nor should it be, but unfortunately it's rampant today. And if you have any of these dynamics in your parent-child relationship, the recommendation is that you seek professional support as soon as possible. You will get more adequate and appropriate help, and your child will be able to have healthier, age-appropriate relationships. So again, it's another confirmation from Psychology Today. And I'm sure it's consistent with the other articles that this kind of relationship within a family dynamic is destructive. It's destructive for the people in it. It's destructive for the people associated with it, be it the child or parent's partner. There's a large casualty rate among relationships with these people. And you can get help for it. This is just information trying to get it out there to help you people. There might be things in your life that you're not sure about. You might have had a breakup and you're not sure exactly what happened. It could have been this surrogate spouse syndrome, or covert emotional incest, parentification. It's Rev Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Bye for now.